Start broadcast. We're live. So, T-Bone, it's been a while.
Hey.
All right. So, this is a new podcast that we're trying to experiment with. It's going to be a a martial arts in general plus tech podcast. So, yeah. Today's topic is going to be knowing when to quit. Not just martial arts, but anything in life in general. But we're going to see if we can keep it with just martial arts right now. So, with martial arts, has there been any martial arts that you've quit in the past or you've thought about quitting?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, that stuff you do as a kid. It was some sort of like weird jazzercise.
Jazzercise?
Yeah.
As a kid? I got to hear about this.
He taught like a dance class that my sister took as well. But he ran some, it was like Kung Fu Kids or something like that. But we had karate belts.
Kung Fu Kids.
Yeah. And it was like a ninja doing like a taekwondo kick. And we had this little like printout
all over China, right?
Right. Ninja what? No.
Once again, the Japanese stole it from the Chinese.
And we had these little printouts with little colored dots to tell you what moves you've done, what moves he's seen you do, and like that. And so it was just a mess. Sometimes he would do it in the auditorium of my elementary school. So at some point, I just wanted to stop. And then, in Georgia, I actually did Taekwondo right up until I left. And then there was the Choi Li Fut. I was doing that pretty much until I left. So those weren't really like quitting. But here now, with the style I love, I'm starting to feel like I want to quit.
So, before we talk about the style that you love and wanting to quit that, with this jazzercise Kung Fu Kids thing, when was the moment that you started thinking like, wow, this sucks, or like you're like, I just didn't want to do it anymore?
Well, so there was like the element of danger, like there were some moves that were kind of like weird judo jujitsu mixed in. It was totally MMA before MMA was cool, like hipster MMA. The gay hipster MMA. That's
for kids.
For kids. I still got the gi and everything.
Can you fit in it?
Huh?
Can you fit in it?
No. That's like an impossible. I would break it. Like, no way. Although it might be kind of a funny thing to do. Next week.
Yeah.
T-Bone trying to fit into this. But yeah, so it was a point where I realized that it didn't seem like it was like I was talking about it to like one kid and they're like, oh, I do karate. Oh, that's not a martial art, And then you hear, other people kind of dashing your hopes, like, uncles or friends of the family or somebody messing with you. Okay, show me your punches. Okay, show me your kicks, and somebody being overly an expert that just kind of really just squashes that bug. Jiminy Cricket just boom.
Basically, everyone is like, oh, you think you can fight, kid? You little stupid, you piece of crap.
Yeah.
Like,
really? Yeah. So eventually, the attrition just kind of happened, and
I mean, were you running around telling everybody you were like the blue Power Ranger or something, or like?
No, that was before Power Rangers. So that was way before Power Rangers. That was like the only thing they had was like X-Men on TV or something. Like it was before X-Men too. Um, but no, it didn't feel like it was something I could take to help me on the playground, and it felt kind of like thrown together. Like I guess I could tell the authenticity of it, the genuine nature of it. I mean, even though the teacher was in shape and dedicated to the art, it didn't click.
Huh.
And eventually I told my mom, I was like, I don't want to go back.
Wow. So I mean, like, well, what made your mom want to send you to that school? I mean, was it because you pushed her into it, or like?
Well, I mean, this is like right around the time where she was thinking that I was abducted by an alien. Like I was like busy mind. I was drawing. I was uh, drawing like they had these shows like Unsolved Mysteries on the TV, and after school I would just draw, and I always had a fascination for martial arts and anime, and she just I don't know now this school itself, no idea how. Like it was in a Coloma, it was in like this basically like this place that I mean pure I don't know how before the internet I don't know how people found these places like it must have been word of mouth, friend of a friend, sort of thing.
So it was.
We got an
So
image
I
of
mean,
your
like,
thing.
she decided to just go ahead and just
We can see your
what's up?
we can see your display.
Yeah, it's on
Oh, okay.
purpose.
Oh, okay.
So
There it is.
yeah, there it is, T-Bone, right there in the search bar.
Yeah.
So somehow your mom found out about this and she wanted to avoid letting you get abducted by aliens. So
Yeah.
she sent you to the jazzercise camp so you could, I guess, what, fight the aliens and save the world or something.
Yeah. Yeah. There was like
Okay.
some weird freaking family bullshit with like a psychic in the family, and she's like, Trisha, your kid's special, blah 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 blah.
Oh man, we have to save this for another day for our podcast because we're talking about quitting here. So
Okay, yeah,
we will save this for another day.
yeah.
But okay, so one of the things that you mentioned was um, um, why you quit. You even felt that this guy seemed like he was like putting stuff together. He didn't really know what he was doing, right?
Right,
That's what gave you an impression.
right.
And so, how long did this last before you actually quit and stopped?
I mean, I was a kid. It couldn't have been maybe a month or two, roughly 30, 45 days. So maybe 6 to 8 sessions after that feeling set in.
So altogether, I guess like, oh, so you only started a month and then you were like, oh, man, this is
Oh,
BS. Or...
no, 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 no. I was doing it for maybe a year or so. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it was forgettable. Um, it was in between major friendships, and I think maybe what happened was there was a major friendship that started like surfacing, and I wanted to spend more time with that. And then there was the computer thing. So like if some kid gets a new console and they want to devote all their time to the game or whatever.
Yeah. So okay. So computers, you actually found some better friends. Let's see what else is there. Um, Sorry, I got some distractions here.
No
Um,
problem.
so computers, uh, better friends. Those are the two main reasons. And also, and the guy was full of shit. So those are pretty good reasons to quit.
Yeah.
So like, what was your next martial arts that you took?
Next martial. Oh, judo in high school.
Judo in high school. So you didn't go into judo and be like, "Hey, I know jazzercise, kung fu, whatever."
Kung Fu Kids.
Yeah.
I couldn't even say what style I knew. You know, it's the problem with MMA. Anybody wants to whip their peen on the table? You're like, well, I studied McDonald's School of
Hamburger
Defense.
University. Well, that's an actual thing. I mean, they actually send their people, and I mean, supposedly it's a legitimate management school of some sort. So
Yeah.
don't make fun of Hamburger University there, T-Bone.
Oh, huh. Oh no, I was just throwing out a last name, like a inconspicuous last name. You wouldn't think they're a martial arts master. But judo in high school, and that was pretty impactful. That stopped because I I was all over the place in high school. I was not dedicated, not focused. Well, I mean, I was focused when I was there, but I was all over the place. I think that was like when I started getting into women.
Yeah, that'll do it to you.
Yeah, but that was an amazing experience. One of these kids was high on acid one time, and he wanted to fight the sensei, and sensei
Oh, dude.
literally did a circle in the midair and flipped this kid over like vertically from like standing. He did like a cartwheel with the assistance of sensei. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it look like something like in one of these pictures here?
I'm looking for it. It's
There's this one on the Olympic channel. There's
so the one with the dude, the two blue belts throwing each other.
Let's see, where was that one?
There it is. So it's the second one from the right.
Second one from the right. Okay. Oh, it's from the right.
At the
This
top.
one?
Yeah. So something like that, but sensei would be like his head would be pointing at the camera, and he literally did a barrel roll. It was amazing.
That's so the close. Like, hey man, I gotta get my camera time in. Hey, here's an awesome move. Bam.
Yeah, all the kids were like, "Oh damn!" Like, and this dude was like a boxer, like pre fuck up. One of those kids before they, fall in with the wrong crowd. Fun guy though, but just tried to fight sensei. Okay. So yeah, this one, it would be basically, coming of age, women, and then lack of time. I had to devote more time to marching band, and I was pretty dedicated to that, to the music.
You were doing like several different things at the same time.
Yeah, and after school activities and all that.
Yeah. I'm kind of finding I'm having the same issues with all the stuff that I'm doing. I mean, you know me, I'm doing like freaking Tai Chi, Xingyi, Wing Chun, and all this crap at the same time. It's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
And on top of school too.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say straight up, I've been neglecting school like crazy. Like, fuck school.
Yeah. I've heard that in some of the texts, man. And there's a real cost to your pie chart of attention.
Yeah, and
it's real.
Yeah, and like the thing with women and sex, it's funny. So our Tai Chi instructor, he had his first student in America. We call him our Tai Hing. You know who Benny Paldo is?
Nope.
Oh, dude. So, pops up. No, wrong Paldo. Oh, not showing up.
Some.
Nope,
that's
not
a
it.
chick.
No, anyways, major, like, he's a major
Tai Chi?
no, so anyways, he was like our Daising, and like our instructor was teaching him some stuff, and he told him, oh yeah, like I guess like his girlfriend at the time, who was also studying under our master, she wanted to move in with him.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and so he's like, hold on, I gotta ask our master first. So he actually went to ask Charlie, and like Charlie's like, nope. So he goes back to her, and he's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't let you live with me because our master said no. And this is like a 30-some-year-old guy, and he's like, major, weightlifting guy and all this. Like, he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Right?
But yet he chooses to ask our master, and our master's like, no, you can't do it. Because women will screw up your regimen, like you're gonna be thinking about sex all the fucking time. You're not gonna be studying at all or like practicing.
Right.
It was just interesting how this man had that level of dedication to do that.
Right. Right. All right. So that happened in Charlie Futt.
Oh, Chile Fat too.
Yep. Red belt, red sash, and this little yellow sash. She lived with him, or she wanted to live with him. They wanted to get married, but Master Sifu Wojtek said no.
Wow.
Polish guy.
Oh man. So okay, so you went from judo, and then is that when you went to Chile Fat, or?
No. So judo, and then next one wouldn't be, so that would be high school, and then the next one would be in the military for just after my divorce. I did 1,500 crunches one night and thought I was way too bored for this shit. So I started Taekwondo with one of the most amazing people. Pak Sik Yoon. POK.
Oh, POK?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
There he is. Oh, is that him?
What?
There's one of him kicking an apple off of fucking. I forget what they called their katanas, but the samura.
Let me see. Hold on.
At one of the demonstrations, he kicks an apple off of some dude standing off of some other dude's shoulder.
You sure it's not this one? Is this one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's.
I think your Sabunim would like try
to try YUN.
YUN? Okay. About the same pictures pop up.
Taekwondo?
Yeah.
This kind I mean the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picture kind of looks like him. Yeah.
Look at 2 white guys on the side, unless he's a referee.
He was a 9th Dan Grandmaster. That kind of looks like him below, right next to the Orange Taekwondo magazine.
This young guy right here?
No, just above that. That one right there.
This one?
To the right of that. To the right of that one. Chong Park. No, to the right of there you go. That kind of looks like him. No, not particularly. But yeah, so I didn't really want to ever quit Taekwondo. I took breaks to um, invest a little more in working out because of my weight ballooned a lot in the military. And then, I can't even. Oh, wait. See the one with the army dude next to TKD, the blue magazine with the world right above the orange magazine?
Oh, this one right here, the one
Yeah,
with the flag.
yeah, yeah. Because he taught in Georgia.
That might be it. Or
Yeah.
no. Unless this might be in Korea itself. There's a
Oh,
possibility of that
okay.
too.
Okay. But he instructed some of the special forces, paratroopers, just a real like amazing guy. So basically, in the spirit of this quitting thing,
Yeah.
he left such a physical impact on me because like physically, you don't forget when you get touched by a master like that. It's like deep and impactful, and it like touches into you, and the kind of encouragement, the things they can pull out of you, amazing, amazing. So that's not really like in the spectrum of quit. Um, like leaning towards a quit, like I think I want to stop taekwondo. Oh, it's too hard. No, that was more. I'm going to push myself outside of taekwondo to meet that training. We were making the windows rain, dude, and the walls rain. Like it was.
So so you mean like you weren't even like you didn't feel that you were meeting his standards, or you mean
No,
like you just felt
no. He's Korean. uh, no, it was tough. It was. We even had this fat. He was like seventh dan. He was another grandmaster too, Master Magnuson. Came in there and taught me how to do body push-ups, like where you basically just flex and lift yourself off the ground with like that signet Korean triangle thing.
oh, so is it like
Like
your
when they
hands are
do
way
like
above
the
your head, but then you're kind of like lifting your head up, sort of thing. Yeah.
yep. So you're basically like just going up. Um, and his fat ass was doing body push-ups. And I was like, that's amazing. There's got to be something else. So like anytime that like a master's left like breadcrumbs in their students, um, something they can take outside of the dojo, outside of the dojang, outside of whatever it's called in Chinese. I always forget.
We call him Okun.
Mokun.
Yeah.
Um, outside of that, outside of training, anytime there's like breadcrumbs, like you see glimmer of lesson breadcrumbs along the path, that I think negates that self defeat where you allow yourself to quit. So Taekwondo was full of stuff that just it was nourishing, soul nourishing. It'd pick you up, it'd make you feel strong, make you feel like you could fly. Um, Literally, like you're jumping around doing amazing things, even though everybody talks shit about it. So there's that external sort of like, even though everybody talks shit about Taekwondo, dude, I had for myself in that training, there was enough breadcrumbs to kind of counteract that. Now, Choi Li Fut, that was easier for me to step away from and dedicate myself completely to Taekwondo because it felt like a club. It felt like it took me back to that feeling as a kid. Like we're all just kind of like, you know, um,
Oh, it
where I
seemed like
live.
no one was really serious about it. You didn't really get like that sort of intensive, like I'm going to bring myself to another higher level. Is
When
that what you're
you
saying?
when you go to check out a new martial art, I think there's a level of disappointment. and like the very, very new student, or maybe even an experienced student going in to check something out just for the beginning, when you step in to where it's being housed and it's inside a gym, or you go into somebody's backyard, I think there's just a natural level of disappointment. However they set it up, unless they've got their own space. If you're going into somebody's borrowed space that's not your own, I think that adds to a level of disappointment. And I think that starts the path to quitting.
Huh. Well, for me, because with like when I started Wing Chun, right? Like I was like, all right, this is it. You know, this is what I really wanted. You know, I didn't start too long after Tai Chi. Like I just because my martial arts journey is pretty new, right? But when I started Wing Chun, even though it wasn't his own place, it was like, dude, this is what I wanted. This is it. You know, I found it. But then, so the reason why I'm starting the topic of this podcast is at the end of this year, I am seriously considering quitting Kendo, even though I just started it in July.
You gave it a good shot. 6 months,
Well,
pretty.
Well, I mean, let's see. When did I start Kendo? July. Is it a little bit under 6 months? But regardless, I mean, like Kendo. I mean, like it looks fun and all, but then like it doesn't give me that same high that Wing Chun does. It and for some reason, like even though I'm not doing enough of Wing Chun as much as I should be, I mean this like I just don't get anything out of Kendo. Like don't get me wrong, it's a nice workout. You sweat a lot. It's great. And I mean like it looks cool, but just not for me, I guess, for whatever reason. So, but like absent of any real reason to quit, I figured I would give it another shot until we started getting the beginning class. We're about to be put together with the intermediate and advanced people.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you guys can start sparring.
No, the sparring is for like the advanced people. I mean, we're not really at the level where we can spar yet.
But you're going to do full contact?
I mean, no, we don't have the armor. So we're still just like doing the hits, practicing the moves. So then for the advanced people who actually have the armor, you know, they're the ones that are doing the full contact and all that. Yeah.
They'll let you take a shinai to the chest?
No. But I mean, so far all we're learning is pretty much the same cuts, right? It's basically some variation of going up and down straight.
Yep.
And then so if you're going to do a men cut, which is still a men cut top down is like right on the head, right? And then you can do when you do the kirikaishi with the men cut on the 45 degrees. So it's still a head cut, but 45 degrees, you're flicking it with your wrist. And then if you were to grab enough, like if you set yourself with a bit more distance, you would give the person a cut to the wrist, the kote cut. And then if you were to flick, I think, your elbow instead, that would be the do cut where you get them on the side, right? But because most of the points are given by the men cuts and the kote cuts, those are the ones that tend to be practiced a lot more.
They're real shit, dude.
I mean, it's great in that it works on your distance, it works on your timing.
Your kamae.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. And plus, like, so like before we started being put with the advanced people, you know, I figured, you know, I have no real reason to quit. I should just keep doing this, and you know, I'll get through this. But then it got to a certain point where uh, one of the senior guys, he noticed, I think he's the assistant instructor, he noticed that like my hips were not moving. Like
Okay.
when you advance towards the target, you're kind of like bouncing up and down,
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
right? He noticed that I wasn't going at all. I was kind of like moving like a tank, and he was saying that I was using like brute force and strength,
Uh-huh.
which is what I'm not supposed to do.
Right.
And I know that every martial arts I do, because it's an internal martial arts style, it's supposed to be loose. It's not supposed to have any sort of strength to it. But I'm trying to break out of that habit. So with kendo, it is consistent in this area. Like I need to be loose. I'm well aware of that. The problem is a myself. B, at this point, it is actually going to affect my other martial arts because some of the other things that I do, like Xingyi, right? My hips cannot move. Like when I'm moving forward, I'm in Xingyi, I'm dragging the other foot before I move forward, and it has to stay stationary. So, I mean, I'm afraid that like if I start trying to bounce up and down, like that will become a habit and affect my other martial arts, which I do not want to fuck up.
Hmm. Do you identify with it?
I want to say no, but what does identification have to matter with the martial arts that you choose?
Because if you aren't present in the moment, you're selling yourself on something, on someone else's idea, on another culture's value.
Okay, true.
It's like that whole idea: if you don't stand out, if you don't stand for something, you'll stand for anything.
Right.
So, um,
But it kind of goes with the idea of like, what's your passion? It's such a dangerous phrase, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like not to say that passion's a bad thing, but like
no.
at this point in my journey in life,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I should be flexible enough to, let's take this out of the context of martial arts. I should be flexible enough to take any sort of job, get into it, get proficient in it, and like be good at it. And it really shouldn't matter what type of job it is,
Mhm.
but um, I mean, like at least that's how I view jobs. Now,
Okay.
bringing it back to martial arts, ultimately, why did I choose these martial arts? I guess is the question, as opposed to why am I quitting now? Right? Like before, it was absence of a good reason, good legitimate reason. I should not quit kendo. Now, I'm feeling the effects of it starting to affect my other martial arts. So,
How did you find kendo?
let's see. I well, I just like typed in kendo and then like my local area, and then I found it. Why did I choose kendo? I guess because I mean, there's always the romanticism of being able to hold the sword, right?
Yeah,
Um, uh,
especially the Japanese.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of romanticism with that. Now, granted, even though they call it kendo, so ken means okay. So here we get into semantics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Let me see if I can type it out here. So Ken, as opposed to or Kim in Cantonese, as opposed to a sword or a dao, dao would be like a to, like a tanto,
Oh, yeah.
like the short sword.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that would be a do in Cantonese. Let me see if come on, it's not coming up with the right word here. There we go. So Share screen. There we go. Share. Okay, so in actuality, an actual sword is one that is double-edged. It has two edges. A knife, a dao or dou in Cantonese, this is a single-edged sword, or really a knife, right? That's why with the like in Wing Chun, you have the some people call it the butterfly swords. It's
Right.
technically not the correct term.
Right.
But the Batzamto, same idea. It has one edge which is completely flat, and the other edge is for cutting. That is an actual do, like it is supposed to be a knife. So the Japanese sword is not really a sword in the sense that it's double edged. It's more like a knife or like a saber, you know. So it's not a sword per se, even though that's what they call it. I know I'm getting really technical here. Fuck. So, regardless, the romanticism of holding a sword is there. That's what got me into it. That's what made me search for it in the first place. That and also, I mean, like something like kendo, you are starting off with a weapon from the start. It's not like, say, Wing Chun, where I mean you have to progress to the knives. So I figured, like this would be a chance for me to at least get in touch with a weapon of some sort. And
Skip.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah. Like I want this weapon
now. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I was fortunate enough to get the instructor that I had for Aikido, where we got book and instruction, and I guess that's a good little segue from your thinking about leaving kendo to my thinking about leaving Aikido.
Yeah.
Now, there's an idea that I'm wrestling with. The necessity of martial art.
Yes.
So, this litigious day, one can simply not afford. I mean, unless they're doing well for themselves, you really can't afford a fight. You really can't. Cost, being arrested, hospital bills, property damage. You can't afford a fight.
So the issue I would say to that is when you're talking about legal stuff, that comes in with what's equal, like an equal amount of force, right? If the other guy is like really rich and has like a really good lawyer, if you somehow put out the fact that you actually knew martial arts, then the jury's going to look at you negatively.
You should know better.
Yeah.
You're a master. Everyone around you, depending on your level, especially if you're a black belt, you should know better.
Yeah. So, barring people knowing that, though, I mean, it is a good, legitimate martial arts. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with knowing martial arts. I would say it's even more advantageous to actually know it, to know that you can actually prevent it, right? Because if you didn't have any sort of martial arts whatsoever, do you think you would actually have the discipline to not want to punch the guy? As opposed to, since you do know martial arts, you know what you can do to the person, and you would rather not.
Let me flip the question, because that implies moral turpitude in times of lawlessness. So let me flip the question and say, would I know to use martial arts knowing what I do now in a combat situation? And the answer is probably not. I would probably not use or taint, in other words, the martial art. This would lend credence to MMA style of MMA being more effective or whatever as far as self-defense. I would probably tear the other person apart just because of a baby spider mentality. Just because of a baby spider mentality, where I don't get into fights. My face is not scarred up. I don't have bruises or whatever. Like, I credit a lot of that to knowing the fight before the fight, being able to talk myself out of situations. And,
what Bruce called the art of fighting without fighting. Yeah.
It is a worthwhile thing to invest in. But that doesn't mean that I haven't been close to fights. I mean, I've been in like maybe altercations where like I just completely obliterated the other person, and that would lead me into a martial arts study, saying, you know what, I need to focus this. I need to basically point that. I'm not saying I've assaulted someone. It was just like, drunken brawl inside somebody's home, and they're like, hey, come on, let's go, and then tensions rise, and you just
spar.
It gets messy. Yeah, it's sparring, but it gets messy. Like it turns street, and so that doesn't really leave me. Like when like if you think like, oh, you're walking around, and like, oh gosh, I hope nobody messes with me, but I've got martial arts now. You're walking around on the streets. It doesn't really sink in. Like, oh, I'm gonna do a left punch and then a right hook, or I'm gonna clasp their neck and smash their face on my knee, sort of thing, or I'm gonna like do some sort of MMA jump right into them. No, it's gonna get messy, and it's gonna get bad. There's no preparation for it.
Someone at a certain level. I mean, once you get to a certain level, I guess it's going to be to the point where it's like you're not really planning it out. You're really just kind of reacting to their move, and then at that point it's more about like your timing versus his timing.
Even then, like, all right, let's take a situation like that knockout game that was going around for a little bit. You ever hear that?
You mean like Super Nintendo like knockout?
No. So you got a group of kids, and there's no sense of repercussion. There's no consequence. They bore witness. They've never killed anyone from hitting them the right way. And peer pressure. And one of them walks by you. They split to let you by. And one of them at the last second reaches up and from underneath cold cocks you. It's just a silly, stupid fad, but it's there. It's low. It's unruly. So, as best as you sit in seiza in your Japanese martial art, as well as you swing a sword with as much control as you can, as straight as you can hold the 6-foot pole. Things like that, the gotcha stuff. That's real, and really, there's no defense against some of that stuff, man. So I'm not saying like because it's there, you should give up. What I'm saying is, even with the best preparation, there's still people that aspire to that level of surprise, that low level. And as innocent as it may seem, they just didn't know the consequences of their actions. They still can cause real damage. I mean, you can kill someone hitting them in the right spot.
Yeah, but I mean, like kids like that, you know, obviously they really don't have martial arts training, you know,
But what? So, like, all right.
because martial
So,
arts, I mean, like if beyond beyond um, the technicalities of the fight, right?
uh-huh.
Like we were talking about before, what's the difference between a fighter and a martial artist? There's something in the philosophy of the martial arts that you learn. So, kind of coming back to what you were asking me about, uh, does this art, does this style
Right.
somehow does it ring with me, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
guess like to like even though I don't like the idea of passion per se, I think at least with things like Wing Chun, Tai Chi, in a certain way it does ring with me because there's something in the philosophy that I feel is something that I can aspire to. So it's more than just
But that's
the
still cultural identity.
yeah, it's cultural identity. Yeah. So I mean it's beyond passion per se. So it like cultural identity, what does that include also? It's something that um it has certain values that you believe in. There's also the idea of like a community of people that share those same values as well, right? So kids that are going around doing things like that, you know, like what you're talking about, obviously their values are not the same you know, the same sort of values that you have, obviously, right?
Right. They lack experience. They lack recompense as well. If they get like if you're the only person on the street at the time and you're being passed by three people and they do the knockout game and you just go, you're out, you fall flat. Um, they get away with it. You know, if they kill that person, you're lucky if there's a camera. Like
So I mean, if you're out at night on the streets, you see a bunch of guys walking towards you, you're saying that you wouldn't even walk away at all?
I'm a little different. I'm not saying I'm not able to be knocked out, uh, but I'm not necessarily going to put myself in a position to where I don't hear that. Like I would pause my music, you know, as like let's say I'm just blowing off some steam, you know, and I step outside the building and I'm taking a walk, you know, and I'm just like got my little metal on or something, you know. Maybe I'm in my 40s now and I still like metal. So 10 years from now, I'm walking on the street and similar situation. They're taller than me because I'm not very tall. Um, or shorter, I don't know. But still, they've got that one. They've been practicing. Maybe it's their first time, whatever. They get a lucky shot. But still, I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm splitting a group, um, or
And
that.
that's the thing though, situational awareness, right?
Yeah.
Either A, you learn it through the martial arts that, you know, well, either A, you learn it through martial arts, or B, you learn it from the environment that you grow up in.
Mhm. But that's just me. I mean, I'm saying that, like, okay, I get what you're saying as far as having that awareness to begin with. But even just saying it now, all right. So
But I
here's
mean, I
what.
understand that the fatalistic idea of something like that happening, like, yeah, that shit can always happen. Fuck, I can walk on the street and some idiot will fucking run me over, right?
Yeah, yeah, but that's not the. So the point is as instantaneous inspiration. The speed of inspiration, right? So because it's been said, no, the knockout game. What if we just like at the last second we just fucking punch him? Oh, that sounds fun. You know, limited scope of life. Oh, that's great. You know, way to go, dude. Whatever. Um, the idea that that could come up. Okay, if you hit someone right here, they get shown that one time. So you get shown how to hold a sword for 6 months, and you think you can hold a sword, and you know one of the first things they teach you about is cutting the wrist, which is an interesting thing because when those swords clash and when they fall, sometimes your blade, if it's in a better position, is right at their wrist as you're holding it. You're right at their wrist. And just follow through with that swing. There goes the wrist. There goes. Whoop, that's one arm. Now they've got a two-handed thing and one arm to hold it in. And they're bleeding out and they can't use that hand. So, like, I mean, the speed of inspiration, though, for these dangerous technical terms, you don't need martial arts training for that. That's how that knockout game happened. They learned the technique. They learned the jarring of the head. Right in the temple. You were in the soft spot. I mean, the stuff I learned from Sifu and Wing Chun, left arm. Person bleeds out. I mean, there's real stuff. If you don't have the moral capacity that you learn in martial arts, ideally, unless you're like in the Cobra Kai school of Joe Piscopo. You know, so like there's my thing is that with MMA, with all that, the special part about martial arts is that cultural identity, is that moral compass, so that you don't use the lethal stuff for ill-gotten gains,
right,
or stupid endeavors that lead you nowhere. I mean, it builds you from within. So yes, to your credit, yes, I would highly recommend that to an average person, just for removing that baby spider mentality when you get in your first conflict and you just can't stop yourself. You're just going through and just chain punching that person right through. You learn the chain punch. You learn you can't be stopped. If they don't know how to stop it, you can just keep chain punching them.
Yeah, well, so I mean, long sidetrack to back to why are you quitting? Because I mean, yeah, yes, there are those people out there, but so what? Fuck them.
Okay. So it's a mix of that gym, walking in and experiencing the gym. It's a mix of that everyone gets a trophy, which is in martial arts. Very American thing to put in there. Western, sorry. That's a very Western thing to do to such a wonderful thing. Bless you. Bless the people for bringing martial arts to us. But we've somehow fucked it up by adding trophies to the matter.
That's a sense of issue, you know, that's outside of martial arts, though. You know, I mean, even then, there's a backlash against the every kid gets a gold star for participation sort of crap, right?
In my school right now, though, like there's no way to fail a test.
Well, so I mean, okay, yeah, there's that.
And then there's a dickhead who I am not a fan of. This person, time and time again, there is conflict. There is just all this negativity present. And it causes introspection in me. Why do I feel this way? Why is my goat gotten by this person? But then I start to think, why are they never addressed? Why is that never talked about? Why is it only me?
Going to get addressed. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure you being you've probably brought it up to the sensei already and be like, hey, you know, got these issues with this person and whatever. Because otherwise, I mean, if the sensei doesn't know, they wouldn't know how to address that, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is, I mean, no one's going to look at themselves as the bully,
You're right. Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
No one looks at themselves that way. So why is it that people are like that? Because I
Well,
get
that's
a similar
sociology.
person, not to the, probably definitely not to the same degree from what it sounds like from what you've been telling me in the past. But this person, basically, we're supposed to do certain drills in fencing,
Mhm.
and then he'll add in a couple things here and there just to see whether or not I can actually parry this stuff. It's like, dude, this is not the drill. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
like we're supposed to go through the drills for a reason. You know,
10,000
if I'm
times.
sparring with you, I'm gonna spar with you, but wait until I actually spar with you.
Right. This is an ad lib comedy.
Yeah.
10,000 times. You need to do your cuts 10,000 times.
Yeah. No, and I mean, but what do people like that? What is their issue? First of all, I mean, they could have this fucking issue where they have to prove themselves. It could be that.
Mhm.
I mean, that's always going to be the first one we're going to default to. It could be other things too. Like maybe they think like, oh, I either I need to one up this person for whatever reason, right? That's the other default position most people will take. But sometimes maybe it's like they actually think that they're helping you, right? They think that like by getting a taste of what's beyond what's being taught to you, that that
Mhm.
they're actually somehow helping you, right? And
Mhm.
that's just wrong. I
The
don't.
idea that their form is on point and
Right.
you're off.
Yeah. Like oh, because like they've learned more than you have, or they've had more time doing this, that like they can show you the ropes. Like, dude, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yep. Those people can go
I mean,
fuck
like,
themselves.
yeah, but I mean, you're gonna find people like that anywhere, really.
Yeah. That's the same boring thing that everybody says, like if you have a problem with somebody at work, oh, you're gonna find that anywhere you go. Or I have a fucked up
I'm not
supervisor.
I'm
You can
not
find
saying
that
like,
anywhere
hey,
you go.
why don't you just tough it up and just go through it. I'm not telling you that at all. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm just saying like it's gonna be tough, man. Because then like, yeah.
That's not why I'm stopping though.
Okay.
That's there.
Yeah.
So uh, with that sensei, there
Yeah.
was one incident where I played basically the bigger men for some people coming in and trying to start physical altercations in the dojo. They walked in and they literally tried to blitz my sensei. And I stood up and got in their way and said, no, you need to leave. And me and this guy who was just starting that night, he was an Army veteran. And I was worried that he was going to snap because who knows what he knows. I mean, you could wear a white belt. I had in Georgia when I was doing Taekwondo. There was this guy who would participate in world tournaments,
Yeah.
and so he wanted to test my dojang.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you've got a ninth level. I want to test them." this this guy was a trip. But we used to call him the Taekwondo master because he would introduce himself as that, the Taekwondo master of the world. He won one tournament, a featherweight tournament or something. I don't know.
Yeah. You fucking do, right?
Right, right. So uh, I was worried that you never know what a white belt, even though they're wearing the white belt. Never judge a book by its cover. In other words, so I got in there, I stepped in, but the problem with that is that Sensei capitulated and then cried. And that's a hard thing as a man, especially in that environment, to like go through that test that you never asked for.
Yeah.
And then this day and age, I mean, whatever your stress levels are outside of that moment, whatever caused him to cry, sort of thing. I mean, I may cry if I was to ever break, in a way that like I express, but like I didn't want to express myself like that. Maybe, you know. Um, so because that though, like we didn't get to see some of that like black belt magic, you know, right? Like him just like laying out. But like there were homeless people, you know, and there's a problem, you know. Like, anyways, I got in there, I stepped in, escorted him out, walked him down the street, called the cops, made sure they wouldn't come back. Um, but because I did that, you know, because it was me doing that and not that since I was inside, you know, I get that he was taking care of his school, but
Yeah. So, I mean, would you say like, um, would you say that you lost respect for the guy after that, or? Ooh.
Not like I lost a sense of respect for the people in that room. Everyone there, though, I loved, like, in a way that I felt like I was protecting my family.
Mhm.
There was kids there too, and they were those homeless people were drunk. It's like, get your shopping cart and go, get going. But so there's that, and then why he doesn't stop that one student sort of thing, because they need to make money. That's
Oh
one.
man,
That's
another topic that we could totally talk about, man. Oh
yeah,
geez.
they need to make money.
Yeah.
So that they need to make money, and then the authenticity of the instruction. Now, Sensei hasn't gone back to Hambu Dojo in Japan for like some real, you know, get your roots in the heart of the art
Yeah.
and really study it. Not this. These are. I don't mean these as like points of critique. I mean, who the fuck am I to critique a goddamn sensei, a goddamn black belt? You know.
Yeah.
But when this other sensei came in, and he's basically correcting my sensei that I've been following for like, what is it, 7 years,
Mhm.
and he's basically in there now, and he's saying you have to do it this way. It's been being taught wrong the whole time. So 6 years of my life, at least, I was going off of some other guy's memory of an art. I don't know.
Yeah. No. That totally sucks, man. Because it's like you dedicated so much time, and then for this guy to just fucking just wipe it off like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's little corrections, you know, like you said, your hips weren't moving, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's little like idiosyncrasies like that, like not idiosyncrasies, but like little corrections in technique,
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
adjustments, meticulous. But it's enough to where it's now different.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and it was fucking powerful, and it's legit and on point, and it's like, you know, in keeping with the, if you do this, you'll stay out of harm's way. Um, but it's also disheartening to think, God, you know, like do I continue taking instruction from the guy who's taking instruction from someone who just came in here and now is changing everything he knows, you know?
Ooh. Yeah. Because then, on the one hand, it's like you spend all this time, and then to find that you're doing it wrong, right? So then the question is do you want to continue with more so the beyond the art itself? Do you want to continue on with improving yourself down that direction, right? Because even then, let's say with let's take a different art for some sort, right? There's always going to be advancements. Like even in kendo, our instructor's always like, so the way we were taught, and when I was taught, was we would do this, but then now we do this other thing here because of whatever reasons, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
those reasons are explained, but at least he's teaching us in the new method, right? But then
Yeah.
you know, with things like kendo, and I'm sure with aikido, there's some sort of association, and they all get
Yeah.
together and say, "This is how we will teach, and we will have a unified instruction of some sort,"
Yeah.
right? And so it's good in a certain aspect. And I mean, like at a certain point, I mean, you know, even your cell phone is going to get upgraded to a new operating system or whatever, right?
The cell phone has no choice into operating in the way that it does. I mean, it's developer instruction that comes in there and tells equipment how to perform, but the
Yeah.
brain and the body thing, it's like, so when you mix IT and the human body, it's like it's like nails on a chalkboard for me.
I think it, it is the same analogy, I would say, because think about it. Like every time you use something, whether it is your cell phone or Facebook or some other thing, right? Once they change to a new version or a new interface, and it's supposed to be better for whatever reason, people aren't going to like it, and they have a reason to not like it, right? Because change is something that is fearful.
That's okay. Okay,
And beyond just hating
I
change,
get
though,
what you're
right?
saying.
What you're talking about right here is more than just hating change for the sake of hating something that is different. It is
Right,
the
right.
fact that there's all these other things, like we said, you know, time wasting, but also like, do you want to invest the same amount of time to get to where you should be, right?
Right.
Like it's like with investing in stock, right? Every time a stock the stock value falls, right? People think like, oh, well, you know, it just needs to come back up to the previous level and then you're kind of even. But to get back to that same level, percentage wise, you have to win back that same amount, like twice over the rate that it had dropped previously
Okay.
when you do the math.
Because you have to
So
cover for the losses.
yeah, to cover for the losses. And that's just to cover for the losses. And that's not even talking about improving.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, I understand. Like, do you really want to continue with this art at this rate? Because, I mean, after all this time, it's like, man, I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
But it's the same situation in the advanced classes or in the morning classes where they're literally throwing you around and like catch up to us, and you know, going back to that whole um, taekwondo thing where I felt like I was being pushed.
Yeah,
With this, there's no, you've got everyone acting like they're your instructor, like because they're like dance partners. Like it's not like in taekwondo, you're like demonstrating punches and stuff like that, and then you'll have time to spar or whatever. So at that time, you get that dyadic feedback from that person, you know, where they can assume a mentor protege role, you know.
yeah,
But in Taekwondo, mostly it was you, like, and you, like just doing these moves and like, and then doing your punse, the forms, the kata. Um, but with Aikido, it's constantly. I mean, that's the only way you practice is in contact, in motion. You can do it static, but with the advanced, they don't stop. They don't like, I've grabbed you, now what? No, it's grab and move, grab and move. Okay, you're wasting time. Let's go on to the next one. Like it's like there's a level of efficiency and attrition. And if both aren't kept in an equilibrium, then attrition wins because you lose interest because it's not efficient for you. That's not incongruent with your learning style.
yeah,
And so I feel like over time, no matter what I do, I'm still going to have all right. So since it's a seniority based climate
yeah,
there, they don't, oh, this dude, even though he's been doing it for 3 months, he's ready. Wing Chun.
yeah,
Wing Chun was totally kept up by the Seifu. You know, you come in there, you demonstrate you got a lot of prowess, and you can take this to where it needs to go, they'll show you. Some schools may do sashes, but there'd be like 3.
Right.
Maybe 2, yellow and red.
Yeah, I don't know if you include a sash.
Yeah, if you do, yeah. For like demos, you know, to show the advanced students and stuff like that. But so
I get you.
Yeah. So you've got these people who are in a seniority based, sort of like unionized. We'll get back to work there.
Yeah, but I think that is something with your Sifu and Wing Chun specifically. Like that is even rare for Chinese instructors to actually do. I would say that is very rare.
For what?
Like to do what he did, and to basically like, if you were the new guy, right? There's nothing. Even if Chinese instructors were to teach you something that you was up to your level, they would not necessarily feel comfortable with having you be in sort of any sort of instructor sort of role, because they would be aware of the seniority issue that is at hand.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was so super present in Wing Chun. They're like, you don't. He would walk up to you. You don't teach. You don't teach here. Say, I catch you doing it again, I'll throw you out of my school. He would stop you and like, he was like, oh, Dad just smacked the kid. Dad just smacked my brother. You know, I was like one of those. It was wrong, like just ballsy, like putting it down, cutting it off before it becomes a problem, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very American thing to do, to take charge, lead the way. You know, look at any global impression of an American. You know, they're the loudest in the room, sort of thing. But
no, like that thing with seniority and all that, I fucking it's good if you're senior, of course, but like you're at the bottom rung of the ladder, it's like, man, this sucks. No, I totally get what you mean.
There's another situation too, like if you have to stop for a little bit and then you come back, everybody else is ahead of you now.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't matter how good you are or were, there's that caste. There's that seniority-based system that it's defeating.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, I will still have to now take orders from that person.
Yeah. No, that sucks. So
yeah, a lot of those factors, the asshole dude who uses height and now seniority to his advantage, the difference in Sensei's style of what he remembered versus this dude who came in and he learned at Hombu or whatever the case was. Like he basically came in and was like, my knowledge is on point and I'll show you. He's like, you do it like this, you do it like that. He's like basically like schooled Sensei, and I think he outranks him too.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so seniority again because he outranks him. Sensei's been doing it since the 70s.
Yeah, but at that point it is more than just seniority. You know, there's also like I'm assuming someone from like the Federation, you know, that he's a part of, got wind or something of like certain issues, not just what you were talking about, but I'm sure of other issues as well, and that's why they're sending this new guy in, you know.
Well, so they're not really like in our business, but and they don't really like, oh, that's the school from, you know, that part of the world. Oh, look at the taint that they're leaving on our art from the way that they do it. It's not like that. It's more or less like, oh wow, their dojo cho is super old and he's getting towards retirement, and then the next person down hasn't really had any real chance to develop themselves since the 70s, 80s, 90s, since this one fucking awesome person here in where I live, Sacramento. Tree Dong, Sensei Tree Dong was, oh my god, this Vietnamese jack of all trades, just an all-around master that traveled from place to place to place, challenging masters and then learning their art. So that was when the sensei that I've hold in my heart. I learned from him, and he learned from Tree, and then Tree learned from a Uchideshi, one of the live-in students for Aikido.
So I mean, yeah, with all that, man, I don't blame you for wanting to quit, man. I mean,
it's that attrition thing, you never feel like you'll catch up.
yeah. So
like, what's the point?
Yeah, at that point, it's kind of. I mean, I hate to say it in these terms, but it's kind of like rate of return, right?
Yeah. No, for real. Like it's that's why Wing Chun's very good. It's a very scientific martial art. It's got some rate of returns. Oh, you just study your bong. You get really good at the bong, and then you got really good transitions. Like
yeah. So yeah, so like coming back to what we were talking about earlier, like what you're talking about, right? So there's a certain thing where it's like, so if you look at this graph right here, so it's a comparison between demands and ability, right? So if the demands are really high and your ability is really low, you get anxiety. But if your ability is really high but the demands are really low, then you get bored with something, right?
Yeah.
But then right in the sweet spot where the demands and abilities kind of like stretch you out of your comfort zone, but yet you attain that next level, and then you keep climbing in ability and meeting newer demands. That's where you get into like what's called like quote unquote the zone, and that's the thing that will make people kind of want to progress or make people want to keep doing it, because it's like they're going for the next thing and they're being challenged, right? I mean, there are other things with this article on 80,000hours.org. It's like on job satisfaction in general. But I think that curve, that chart actually fits well with like what any student goes through in martial arts, right? So like if you're being met with like a bunch of assholes who want you to do higher than what you're supposed to be doing, or even what your master wants to teach you, then it's like, you're raising their anxiety level, and people are going to want to quit. And then at the other end of the spectrum, if you're not being challenged, you're still going to want to quit because you're being bored.
Yeah, that was me with Sensei. I mean, the only time I was really getting a workout was with Sensei, when he'd like demonstrate in front of the class. He's like, "Richard, please, Chuto."
Yeah.
Pull up, and that's that. And for him, that's the only time he got to have a workout.
Right.
So, but it's not like it's just the one situation. It's unfortunate that it's happening. Yeah. But it's led to this.
So ultimately, I guess let's try to wrap up this the reasons of why we're going to quit. So ultimately, the reasons are: A, does it conflict with your time management, your priorities?
Mm-hmm.
Are you facing a lot of bullies, or just people who are just straight up fucking assholes? Because if you're in that sort of environment, and fuck it, even if the sensei is cool, like that's why I quit freaking the Japanese archery.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other reasons too, but like I was just met with like a bunch of assholes, and they were like straight up talking about me, saying like, "Oh, this guy, blah blah blah. He hasn't even been here for like a couple weeks, and he's already grabbing a bow." Like, well, the sensei let me, so whatever. Yeah. So So okay, bullies, the environment,
elitist attitudes.
Yeah. I mean, I think those are pretty legitimate reasons to quit, really. I mean, the last one though, it's really
find another school.
Yeah, or find another school. Yeah, but I mean, it's really tough for that last one because it's all people based,
and it's all proximity based.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the means to take yourself 45 minutes out of your way to a different school.
Right.
People in the South, here in the U.S. Like they don't have a choice; they have to go to another state if they want if they want another type of school.
Yeah, yeah. If there's nothing like that anywhere else, then you're kind of stuck.
Yeah,
That's sad.
yeah, it is sad.
No, that's why, but that's why like certain people like David Peterson, he was you've heard of the name David Peterson, right? Oh, dude, he's a big Wing Chun guy. He learned under Master Wong Sun Leung.
Hmm.
I'm misspelling his name here.
SEN or SON?
Yeah, I think it is SON. Yeah. So yeah, David Peterson. He learned under Master Wong Sun Leung right here when he was younger. But yeah, it was because that he was learning some like some form of Shaolin Kung Fu. He got bullied, and then like uh, I think he went to Wing Chun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I forgot what happened there, but eventually he found his way to Hong Kong, where he met Master Wong Sun Leung, and then like Wong Sun was like, "Well, hey, if you can teach me something too, that'd be great." And he's like, when I heard that, I cried. Damn. So, yeah, sometimes honestly, shoot, it even requires you to take a trip to somewhere else. And I
Yeah.
think, but that might even be just life in general. Like we talk about gentrification and like people coming into communities and uprooting other people, but at the same
Yeah.
time, we're in a time period where like if you want to stay where you've been living for so long, you're kind of screwing yourself over if there aren't any job opportunities for you. But that's a whole
Yeah.
nother discussion altogether.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So quitting in martial arts,
So quitting martial arts, yeah.
if the
So
attrition is just too
yeah,
hard on you and you are not flowering, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to throw in the towel.
yeah,
You can come back to it, get some distance,
yeah.
see yourself.
So I guess that would be another topic as well. When should you continue on or come back?
When should you come back? Yeah.
Yeah,
What's enough gravity on the situation?
yeah. So we can talk about it another day, but right now I'm all for quitting because yeah, it's messing up with my time for other things. It's messing up with my priorities. It's messing up my styles. Shoot, at least with Kendo, the people are okay. But yeah, I've quit things because of people too, and it fucking sucks. Um, I think those are the main ones. Anything else I'm missing?
Just if you're used to one, so like there could be different lineages or
Oh
different paths to learning essentially the same thing. And if you're used to one way of doing it and you're not willing to accept another,
yeah,
then you're almost kind of pigeonholing yourself into that. You got no other option, put some distance.
yeah.
And, let's not call it quitting. Let's call it putting some distance, If you never come back to it,
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. It's kind of like what we were talking about with kendo. The Mawai distance.
my
Yeah,
safety combat distance.
yeah. So shoot on to the technology portion or quote unquote technology portion of the show. So yeah, the technology. So technology. The reason why, and it's not limited ourselves to like technology with like tech or whatever, but like technological advancements in general, right? So for instance, the Shinai, everyone knows the Shinai, which is like a four-piece bamboo thing put together. And then connected by a series of leather and strings and other things. So the reason why that was invented is because it was to prevent injuries. Because when you whack someone with it, it has more flexibility. So I mean, yeah, it'll kind of hurt, but it doesn't hurt nearly as much as what was used before for kendo, the bokken, which is, I mean, yeah, while it's not like a steel hard blade that'll cut you in half, being whacked by one of these
It
still
hurts.
fucking hurts.
Or you break it. And if
Yeah,
you live in a village and you have to keep making pokken all the time, material damage.
yeah,
Sheena is much more built for uh, combat.
yeah. I mean, but I would not want to get whacked by a fucking club, no matter how tiny in diameter this thing is.
Right. You can still like try to hold up a block, but you're still like that's a thin bone.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, and of course, obviously, the bookend was made because it's not a real fucking blade that'll chop you in half. Like, because chopping students in half or like your sparring partner kind of not a thing you want in your schools.
Mhm.
Although it's funny because
They'll open skin too.
well, Feng Chun, I mean, like everyone when they learn the Ba Zhang Do, it's still very much like you're using the knives,
Yeah,
but you're
right.
I
There could
mean,
be
it's
slip
not like
ups.
anyone's sparring with the knives, of course. So there's a downside to that. But then,
Yeah.
like, I mean, well, that's another discussion for another day.
Mhm.
So,
There's a way they do it. I mean, it's all from like lessons that kind of bleed over between the arts and styles.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there is now a plastic butterfly knife.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can find it. But that's, I mean, maybe we should save that for another day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll be going through like martial arts stores. I mean, you
Yeah.
can Google search the term.
Oh, geez, where is it? Is It's with the Sifu Gongji Kern, but let's see if I can find. Uh, Anyways, yeah. Yeah, there it is. There's this specific school that has like plastic knives. Let me see. I'm not sure if my door is being knocked upon, but whatever. I'm gonna ignore it for now.
I thought I was hearing some combat outside.
Hold on. Yeah, screw them. Anyway, so in this, am I sharing? Yeah, I think I'm sharing, right? No, I'm not. Okay, so yeah, these right here, uh, Master Guangji Kern, he is at this one place in Hong Kong that actually sells these plastic batandos. Well, I mean, they could also be used for like the Hong Korean dos, whatever. Usually people will get those two mixed up, anyways. So yeah, now he's saying like with these, you can actually go up front and like not necessarily like whack a person, but you can actually get up close to someone and not be afraid of like actually, you know, cutting them in half or something.
Yeah. I mean, even if you had a dull blade, I mean, the dull blade's still metal.
Yeah.
And metal on bone is not friendly.
No. So so yeah, there's that. But yeah, same idea as to why the Bokken and the Shinai were developed. So um but yeah, tools that help you in your martial arts technology. Dun, dun, dun.
Hmm.
Um, that's pretty much that.
Yeah. There's I can't really think of any sort of synthetic changes to the stuff I've been working with. I mean, beyond like different styles of boken, like where it's that style of wood that they make out of that Home Depot, like for your uh, patios.
Yeah.
Um, that's a lighter weapon that's thicker. Uh, I think I have a. It's like a ninja toe. I think that's literally the name of the sword, the ninja toe, since it's a straight blade.
Yeah.
Boken that I think it's like particle board. It doesn't like it's really heavy. And it looks like it's painted all black and stuff like that. But it's yeah, I mean, you can get a good whack with it. But that's, I mean, as far as like getting plastic Boken, you don't really see all that. I've seen some bamboo, and that's for like, sometimes women, sometimes kids, because I mean, doing the Boken so many times, and for people's height, like some maybe smaller. A lot of different people study Aikido.
Yeah.
You don't have to go like all out in it. Like you don't have to take that person to the ground and then put them in, the got their arm all crooked, all backwards because maybe that person has cancer.
Yeah.
Some people like the art in motion, the kinesthesiology, the cathartic.
So we've went through the reasons that you can quit, or at least the reasons we're quitting, and we've went through some technology that's used in martial arts. So what is the name that we should use for this podcast?
When in doubt, try it out.
When in doubt, try it out. Oh, God. Jazzercise for kids with Kung Fu.
Yeah, jazzercise for kids. We'll come on it. Let's just go by the guy's martial musings. Something like that. Martial musings. I'm drawing a blank.
Drawing a blank? All right.
Yeah. We'll meditate on that one.
Yeah. Let's work on
the name.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead and end the episode here, and then we'll think about the name.
Yeah. But it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay, cool. So I'm going to stop the broadcast right here.